I love my husband more than anything in the world, so I did what was best for our marriage. The streets glistened silently outside my window. I was glad the rain had stopped. The gloomy skies did nothing to alleviate the sick grasp of anxiety in my stomach. I traced the remnants of drops on the sill, straining to hear the crunch of the wheels on the gravel, which would tell me my husband was finally home. But it was not yet 7. The harsh words from yesterday's phone call still grated in my ears. I'm telling you, my flight is delayed. Jesus, woman, I don't even feel like coming home. I had felt a chill run down my spine as he voiced my worst fears. And even as I had looked up his flight status online and saw it landed an hour ago, I had known it was only a matter of time. I'm not a paranoid wife. I wouldn't have logged into his mail and noted down his itinerary in detail if it had been a passing fling. I love my husband more than anything in the world, and I was willing to swallow a few late nights and the new smell of vanilla on his shirts. But the nights stretched into days and weeks and work trips that had never been there before. At first, I was really quite nice about it. I cooked his favorite meals, organized outings and paraded around in lingerie that he used to go crazy over, even months ago. But then he slipped further and further away, and I spent every night biting my fist, trying not to let my sobs tear me apart as I lay alone in our big beautiful bed. But I love my husband more than anything in the world, and he belongs with me. I would not allow it to be otherwise. When we had first met in college, he had been with another girl, an ordinary bad brain who hadn't deserved him. It wasn't very long before I took care of that. When he told his mother he wanted to marry me, she opposed it vehemently. On the day of our wedding, I shed tears and assured him that spiteful bitch was smiling down at us from heaven. It was time for me to take my husband back again. A bang startled me out of my fretful reverie. I bit my lip as the key turned in the lock, and he entered the house, looking like he'd returned from a party instead of a weary 10 hours at the airport. I greeted him with my usual bright smile, and did my best not to flinch as the smell of vanilla hit my nostrils when he walked past me to the bedroom. I thought I would finish washing up in the kitchen, that would distract me. He walked in there 5 minutes later, while I was wiping my big knife, like I knew he would. He had noticed the silence in the house. Where's Leo? Our golden retriever, my husband's wedding gift from his father. Leo and I tolerated each other for his sake, but I hated how much he loved that dog. I was never any good at sharing. How was your flight? He looked annoyed, like I knew he would. My husband is predictable, as people are to one another when they've been married for 10 years. But I loved how well I knew him, and could sift through the humming thoughts in his brain. Good. I asked you where Leo was. That's all he could think about after being away for 10 days. I was glad he was gone, so my husband could finally focus on me, on us. He's gone. And you need to stop seeing her, or she'll follow. I could almost hear his heart turn over in that well-muscled chest of his. What did you do? I smiled. The knife in my hand shined when the light fell in it. It pleased me so much. I pride myself on a clean kitchen. There's a fresh patch of earth in the garden. Please remember not to trample on the new grass. The handle on the knife wasn't clean enough. I knew that would worry me, so I started working on that next. My husband stared at me like he was seeing a new woman. But he wasn't. Of course he knew deep down, I love him more than anything in the world and I would do anything for us. What do you want me to do? He whispered. I noticed his white knuckles gripping the edge of the table, and I went over and placed my hand over them. I tried not to feel hurt when he recoiled from my touch. I know it was difficult for him, but I also know he now understands how important our marriage is to me. He's not going to leave me again. So I told him what to do, and giggled as he called her up and told her he never loved her. Her cries were music to my ears and I almost forgot about my lonely vigil these last few months. Almost. Do you love me? Yes. But I didn't like how he said that like the word tore out of him. So I made him call everyone who knew about his floozy and tell them how he realized that there was never anyone else for him but me and nothing would break us apart. Then I poured him his favorite whiskey, and as he grew incoherent with grief for that wretched dog, I drew him to me and smiled as the familiar desire shut everything else out for both of us. We were sitting across each other at the dining table when the doorbell rang. I got up and opened the door before the scratching and yapping got worse. So how was the movie? I stepped aside as Leo yanked his leash free from our neighbor's grasp and launched himself at my husband. Loved the ending. Thanks for looking after him. Fantastic. A true horror. You didn't only manipulate your husband, you manipulated me as well. I really thought you killed Bird Brain and bitch-in-law off, but perhaps you're totally innocent. So a true horror indeed, for the horror is only in my imagination. Well, maybe not totally innocent. Nashi definition killed them. But never the dog. No, never the dog. You are a damn generous woman. Good job on keeping your dignity and not killing anyone off. It was right to spare his dog. Not killing anyone off, can't be sure about that. What about the guy's college girlfriend and his mother? The neighbors took them out and are still walking them up. Yeah. That sounded very murderous. If it was just natural deaths, I don't think she'd have insinuated any involvement in their passing. Just be happy that nature took its course. Haha. Nice. Bro, IDK what I would do if I was him right then. Haha, I think I'd actually fall in love with her tbh. IKL Mayo, definitely one way to get what you want. Thanks. I always love appreciation for my efforts. Could you please explain what happened? Because I didn't get anything as I'm sleepy as hell right now.